So this Joe Burrow, all right, this was him. Robbie played this earlier on in the show, but for those who missed it, Joe Burrow, once again, is making it seem like he has very little interest in playing for the Cincinnati Bengals because this guy has already made many comments about having leverage, talking about, where he'd like to play and all that type of stuff. And so now yet again, he comes out in the midst of all this and decides, I'm going to make another statement in regards to my playing future. And this is what he had to say.
The draft is funny because you don't have, not a lot of professions that pick you to. Engineers don't get drafted to certain companies. So that's kind of peculiar in, the capitalistic ways of the United States. But that's how it is. And the teams that had the worst year pick at the top, and that's why they're there. Whatever team I go to, it's going to be a challenge to begin, and I'm going to have to, persevere through it, and just like I've done in the past.
You gotta love Joe Burrow enabling the United States of America in there too. He goes, the capitalist United States of America, typically we're allowed to do whatever we want. Like, he's even invoking politics in this, Leroy, so he doesn't have to go to the Bengals. He has no interest in playing for that team.
Maybe he's just keeping it real. Is there anything he said wasn't true?
He's envious of the engineers.
He is. Joe Burrow could be an engineer, I guess. I don't know what he studied in school, but he could go back to LSU. I'm sure they might even let him go and take all his classes for free after winning a national championship. Continue his education if he wanted to. I don't know.
He can go to whatever company he wants. Doesn't have to get drafted by the engineering company.
Guess what? Here's the deal. When he sees he's the number one pick and he sees that pay, he'll
be all right.
Oh, yeah.
Look.
He'll be fine. He might have to live in Kentucky, but that's okay.
Oh, why won't more? I do wonder, though, like, why haven't more guys tried to pull the Eli Manning move or the John Elway move where they dictate where they go? Like, this has been done before. I mean, why couldn't Joe Burrow go out there and completely say, I refuse to play the Bengals. I don't want to go to my hometown team. I don't want to go play in Ohio. I want to go somewhere else. I don't trust the organization. The owner's kind of got a cheap reputation. There's nothing he could do to dictate going down in the draft or going to another team.
If you notice, all the other quarterbacks that did that, there were a boatload of options in that draft. Right? So when John Elway did it, that was the 83 draft?
Yeah.
5 or 6 quarterbacks went in the first round.
But the Colts didn't even come away with a quarterback. They ended up trading Elway for a lineman and another player.
Right. When Eli did it, there was
Rivers and Roethlisberger.
Phillip Rivers.
Yep.
Huh? It was Phillip Rivers
and Roethlisberger.
Yeah, but it was, look, Phillip Rivers and Eli were going to be the 2 top 5 picks, right?
Yeah.
During that time.
Yes.
That's the 2 guys. It was one or the other. From that standpoint, there are no other options. There's no way Cincinnati is not selecting him. And if they do select him, he'll get over it.
No. This is it. But we would say if there's been projected, I mean, put the order where you want. I mean, there's 4 quarterbacks in this draft that people deem first round worthy. It's not like they don't have a plan B. And if they could come away with a treasure trove of draft picks, it's not like they're going to come away empty handed.
All right.
Even the Giants.
And quite frankly, I mean, I think that franchise would be happy with anybody that wasn't Andy Dalton, who's out there warming up. Even Andy Dalton's quarantine workouts look boring. I was like, oh, of course, he's just throwing to a net in his backyard with his kids. Gotcha.
Most of the quarterbacks in the league are Andy Dalton.
Yeah, but Andy Dalton's just a little extra boring.
But just that's what most. I mean, was Eli boring?
Yeah, Eli was boring, but Eli had a famous last name, so that kind of made him more interesting by default.
No, it didn't.
Yeah, it did. It did.
Dude, when you see Eli and Peyton in a commercial, and you think the funniest guy of those two is Peyton, that's your two choices?
Here's what I need to happen, okay? What kind of scandal can we get going in these next 8 days, Robbie?
8 days.
What can we do in these next
Hopefully.
8 days? What kind of scandal can we unravel with
Nothing.
Joe Burrow to get him to fall to the Dolphins, or to get the Bengals to move off?
Oh, wait.
He gets coronavirus?
So now you want Joe Burrow. You don't want to.
Been very clear. I said that my first option is I want the Dolphins to make a Godfather trade for Joe Burrow. Said it many a times on this show.
And guess what? That makes my point.
Why?
Why? Because before the year started, I said to you, don't get hooked up on Tua. You don't know what's going to happen during the season. Somebody else might come out of nowhere.
He did come out of nowhere, and he broke football right over his knee.
Oh,
He was
okay.
awesome. And then,
That was my whole point.
And then the
all
Dolphins,
along.
and then the Dolphins decided it was important for morale for Ryan Fitzpatrick to go win them 5 games, which is a real pain in the ass because they had this thing all
Again,
set up. All they had to
That
do
was my point.
All they had to do, Leroy, was take 1 year on the chin of being the most embarrassing team in the history of the NFL, and they would have gotten the pick of the litter. But here we are, and here we stand. So, So could Joe Burrow? Let me ask you something. If Joe Burrow, if right before the draft there was a gas mask video, do the Bengals still take him number 1 overall?
Yep.
What if instead of a gas mask, it was? What if he had? What if
They
he
could
had?
catch him in a brothel with
No.
Tyrion.
What if they? What if before the draft, we caught him doing the Dolphins' offensive line coach move?
Oh.
He was snow blowing right on camera. If Joe Burrow was saying, "I can't wait to see you in Cincinnati," and there are those big grains falling, and then the Bengals are just like, "Oh my God, we have a quarterback who is addicted to blow." Could they draft that guy? I don't think they could draft that guy. We're better. We're better versed to handle that down here.
Get him some help. Yep,
Nope.
I'm drafting.
I don't really. You would
Yep.
take a cocaine addicted quarterback,
Versus a quarterback with a broke hip.
you would
Yep.
take you would take a coke fiend over Tua's hip.
Yep.
I think you're crazy. I
People
don't.
people can get help with drugs. You can't fix a broken hip if it's broke.
Well, I think down here, I don't even think that it would be a big issue down here. We look at that and we're just like, that's a Tuesday, no big deal. But in Cincinnati, it may be looked upon differently.
Especially in Cincinnati with what happened to the running back down here in the Super Bowl.
I'm
You
telling
remember that? Was it in 91?
All right,
I can't think of the running back's name, but Cincinnati was favored against San Francisco, and their running back went MIA.
Texter writes in, Tua is this year's Kyler Murray. Where's Kyler now? He's the number 1 overall pick. I mean, he was on the Cardinals last year.
No, that's not accurate.
What are we talking about here? I mean, he did mysteriously grow 2 inches. His only problem was he was short, not short and broke.
I'm telling you right now.
Stanley Wilson. That's the guy in the '89 Super
Stanley
Bowl.
Wilson.
Yeah.
What about in these tumultuous times? In these tumultuous times, what if we found out Joe Burrow was
Had a broken hip?
No. Hear me out. What if we found out Joe Burrow was very irresponsible and he had himself an Instagram ass model party, 30 Instagram ass models at his house, big shindig a la Dak Prescott, not social distancing, none of them wearing masks, could be spreading corona left and right. If you found out that Joe Burrow was actively spreading coronavirus, would that, even in these times, but with a virtual draft, would that get the Bengals to allow him to slip out of the top spot?
I'd get him a test, and I'd be like,
Yeah, but it's not about the test. It's about the irresponsibility. It's not whether or not he has
Oh, yeah?
corona.
oh, yeah?
It's not about the test. It's the irresponsibility of it.
I give you one name. Jamarcus Russell.
What is that? Why? What does that have to do with anything?
If that guy could go number 1, I'm taking some minor problems with my quarterback.
Yeah, but was Jamarcus Russell was he addicted to the lean before or after? I felt like that was a post-draft thing when he got super rich.
You think he just started that?
I don't think it was picked up on by the Raiders early on. Although it wasn't Lane Kiffin who said not to draft him. Lane Kiffin said not to draft Jamarcus Russell. It was Al Davis. Crazy Al Davis who wanted to do it.
Dude, there is no way in hell Cincinnati
There has to be a line, Leroy.
is not taking Joe Burrow.
He can't go and murder. Okay, can we put the line up? Can he Carol Baskin somebody?
No, that's a different situation. We're not talking about criminal activity.
Well, I mean, if he was caught on camera doing illegal drugs, that would be criminal activity. If he was having a party against guidelines, that is illegal activity. He would be cited for that.
Okay.
What does the crime level have to be? Could he steal toilet paper from an old lady at Costco?
If he get locked up, then we're going to have an issue.
Okay, so we need to get Joe Burrow a mugshot, and that will cause him to slip out of the top pick.
What's the crime?
Let's say Joe Burrow's at Costco with his boys, right?
Right,
And-
which is already weird in itself.
Let's just say he is. And
Listen, you like a brother, but me and you ain't really going kicking and do our groceries at Costco together.
I'd go
That
to
just-
bro, I'd go to Costco with you.
No, I know, but we ain't going. Hey, Tobin, I'm coming pick you up. Let's go do groceries. Nah, dude, we ain't going. Like that
Not
don't
e-
even sound right.
Not even in bulk?
No, if we're in the car going somewhere, and they go, yeah, let's stop at Costco, but folks, come
You'd
on
have-
down. We gonna go.
You would argue that wholesale shopping is a little bit more of a broski type of thing, though. Big
Yeah,
items.
because we can get all the stuff. Hey,
Yeah.
right. How about this? Jameis Winston, some crab legs. Mm-hmm. Still. So,
But he didn't steal crab legs right before the draft. He stole crab legs in college.
it was close enough.
Somebody says what we need is for Burrow to pull a Jameis Winston, but instead of stealing the crab legs, he coughs on them in Publix and runs out.
So basically, the only thing he could do is he can pull a Utah Jazz center thing and just start acting a fool.
He could have a big party like Dak Prescott and have none of his LSU teammates be there. That'll give him the fall.
Yeah, he needs to do something socially irresponsible in a pandemic to get himself to fall to the Dolphins.
Social irresponsibility is not going to get him out of the first pick.
Seems ridiculous. This entire time we're looking
Wait.
for
You are okay with drafting a running back walking with a limp.
Yeah, I mean my favorite running back had degenerative knees.
You're going to draft a three-eyed raven.
What if this? Can we get to a point? Could Joe Burrow just come straight on out and say, "I want to go to the Miami Dolphins"? Like maybe he could be revolutionary. He could start a revolution with this draft and say, "I don't want to go to the Bengals. Bengals, go get all the picks that you can that you want to get. Otherwise, I ain't showing up." And the Dolphins make a move, and they call up Duke Tobin. Duke Tobin gets all his picks. Everybody walks away happy. I mean, except for the Bengals, who have to get a second-tier quarterback. But then they'll be filled with all their needs.
Are you kidding me?
What?
Bengals can still get to him. He's going to keep falling in the draft. He'll be there at 5.
I don't recall hearing anybody this negative about the process of the draft before, and a guy who had that kind of a year at quarterback.
He's not negative.
He's Leroy. That is negative. When you're telling
Let
me
me ask-
this is not capitalism.
Let me ask you a question. He hasn't been the first person to say that.
First guy.
So
in a
I
while.
guess, but he hasn't been the first person to say it. The other thing is, there is nothing that he has said that isn't accurate.
I'm not saying it's not accurate, but it's not.
That doesn't mean he's not a competitor, nor does it mean he's not going to do everything he can to win.
I get you.
You're confusing the two. You're confusing him being unhappy with a situation or not being, fond of the situation that he's going to be put in, right? Means that he's not going to go out and perform.
I just think that we haven't seen that leverage play. Like, here's the thing. It's the position that's most treasured in that sport, but
Right.
you are tied to the team that drafts you forever. Like
Right.
it really like it's so rare that a quarterback gets away in his prime who's actually good that gets drafted by that team. Like it needs to be a case like Cam Newton. He's Cam Newton's like the rare guy. He's had basically all the accomplishments of a number 1 overall draft pick, and they're just like, nah, hit the bricks, and he's still got what seems like a big window of playing left. But he had to be beaten into the ground to get to that point. Like the
Kind of
only
like
guy
Ryan Tannehill.
Ryan Tannehill had knee injuries. Like even with Ryan, like
He had a knee injury. Here,
but
hold
no,
on. Let me ask you
gotta-
a question. Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Did you see how quick you were to call Ryan Tannehill injury prone? You remember that?
7 years?
No.
7
No,
years?
He had one injury.
No, but hold on. Ryan, you're twisting history.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are. Ryan Tannehill had all of these issues of us not knowing he was the guy. Then on top of that, had a knee injury that he injured twice. So on top of the fact of him not being sure if he's good enough to be your franchise quarterback, then on top of it, he has a devastating knee injury. I think it's a fair thing to add to the equation.
He only had one knee injury. They just didn't fix it the first time. That's all.
And what happened?
Same injury.
But what happened?
Okay. But
he heard
I
it
will
again,
say-
right?
Huh?
He heard it again, though, right?
He didn't. It wasn't that he heard it again. It was that he didn't have surgery to fix it the first time.
You're being very flimsy with
No,
with
I'm
the
not.
deets on that.
No, I'm not. Is that
If
any
I-
different than a guy? Is that any different than a pitcher who has elbow soreness, and they say, you know what, we're not going to do John, we're going to do rehab, and then he injures it again, the same injury, and they say, all right, we better just go ahead and have the Tommy John surgery.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
It's 2 injuries, though. You
No, it's
re-injured it.
All right. Why am I having this conversation with you?
You can't help yourself. It's
I know
too
exactly
easy.
what it is.
I just give you that.
What was the worst injury you've ever had in your life?
Dislocated shoulder. It still hurts. Not from the weight. I heard it in baseball. You jerk. But I never got
dislocated my shoulder if I'd have dropped all those tens on my shoulder.
No, I hurt my shoulder bad in high school diving into first base too hard. The guy was trying to pick me off. I know it's a weird thing. First of all, I'm not. Do I look like a guy who's good at running bases? Obviously not. And so the guy got shifty with me on a pickup move. I dove way too hard into first base, messed up my shoulder, and then I never got surgery on, so I kept messing it up again and again. Like when I would work in the furniture store, lifting a mattress. If I was working out, like my shoulder's still messed up. But I'm not gonna get surgery. What do I look like to you? Do I look like do I look like Josh Beckett? I need to go get surgery to get things fixed. It's ridiculous.
But here's my bigger point. Is that I'm trying to figure out how you handled that Tannehill situation, that injury. But yet you're okay with Tua.
Because it's very simple. I watched Tannehill for 6 years. Then he got hurt. Hold on, listen. I'm trying to explain it. You asked me a question. I'm going to answer it. Okay.
But you kind of sound like you know how you do.
No. You asked me a question. It's very simple.
All right.
Tua has not been the Dolphins quarterback. So I'm coming into it knowing what I'm getting. Ryan Tannehill, I didn't like watching him play football. Didn't know if he was a franchise quarterback. We can have the argument that we've had a gazillion times already on top of it, but you know my feelings on it. Then I add on top of it, he also had a bum knee. All right, I'm ready to move on. Like, not only did I not like watching the guy play football when he was healthy, now he might not be healthy.
All right, we can go back and forth with this, but the whole thing is that you're picking and choosing again. You really like Tua. You really like the bloke that was running back, right? And he had a bum knee, but it didn't matter.
That bloke gave you more joy in his one season of being awesome than Ryan Tannehill ever did as the Dolphins quarterback.
Well, you know why?
Because he was awesome.
You can be a good running back and with less things working than
Maybe.
you can be in a great quarterback. There's
I'm
a
not
lot of
denying
things that have to go well for you to be a good quarterback.
Maybe you're right. I'm not going to say you're not right, but facts is facts.
All right.
Facts is facts.
All right.
Now, the real-
I just look at it as you hook your horns in players and they can do no wrong. And then there's certain players you believe they can't do no right.
But what my bigger question is, so getting back to Joe Burrow is like, why can't there be a guy who rocks the system? Like, if he really wants to make a move that shakes up football, is the system such in place that he really can't make this move? Like, it seems like he should have some kind of leverage, being as good as he is and not being happy with where he's going.
Because every time I've seen this happen, there's been other options.
There are other options, though.
No, there's not.
There are.
What other option does Cincinnati have at quarterback?
I mean, apparently to all the sheep out there like Mel Kiper, they should just go get gorgeous 6'6" Justin Herbert and his prototype body.
Over Burrow?
That's the dude right now.
Over Burrow?
They have a happy Herbert over a sour Burrow. Burrow.
So you're basically asking a franchise to commit franchise suicide.
No.
By doing that. Yes.
Aren't you the guy who says that we put too much on the quarterback anyway? I'm giving him Justin Herbert, but in this scenario,
that is the number one player in the draft.
Hold on. In this scenario, you're also I'm gonna give him 4 first-round picks, and one of them you got to. So you're gonna get Justin Herbert and 3 first-round picks.
Nope.
Isn't that
That's
irresponsible? You Leroy Horde?
Here, let me ask. No, because here's the other thing you're failing to realize. What player is going to make more money for my business? Whether he works out or not. Mm-hmm. Joe Burrow.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to sell a lot of Tiger King shirts.
Okay. There is no... And guess what? And what player not elected will also cost me losing the most money?
You think you think drafting Joe Burrow would cost him a ton of money?
What? South Ohio has been getting all excited about Joe Burrow now since the national championship game. Right?
Go Tiger.
Right. There is no way in hell you cannot say with the first pick in the NFL draft, the Cincinnati Bengals select Joe Burrow. Let me tell you, you think Miami fans went crazy when they drafted. There will be riots. Social distancing will be over.
But would it be if he didn't want to play there? Like, what if he said, "I'm not coming to camp. I don't want to play here."
Look. In all those situations, you have to be honest with the situation too. Mm-hmm. If there's no other options for that team and you know they need a quarterback, you can't make that demand because they won't care. And you look like a clown. In all those other situations, there were other options for that quarterback or for that team.
I get you, but you're saying there's no other options. There are other options at quarterback.
No, there's not. Not that good.
Not people who have had that kind of a year.
Right. I give you a perfect example. If Tua was available and healthy, and it was this question of who was going to go first or who was going to go second, right? And then he came out and said, I don't want to play for Cincinnati. I don't want to play in my hometown. And you just take Tua, everybody still be satisfied. No love lost.
Would you be mad at the Dolphins? Hold on, though. So if let's say the Bengals were willing to play ball, though, would you be mad at the Dolphins for selling the farm? Because the reports are they don't want to do that to go to the number 1 pick.
I would for the simple fact that, okay, now you're in the same position as Ryan Tannehill. Like, you depleted all of your resources to get one player, and you had several needs. You have a lot of needs that you have to fill. You have 3 first-round picks. Okay, what's going to turn this around more than anybody wants to admit is the ability to get cheap talent, to get talent who are going to contribute at a high level that are on their first contract. Okay? If you look at all the teams that have had success, that's kind of how that happens. The anomaly is New England. But for the most part, teams, when you look at the Rams, when you look at Philly, when you look at Seattle, you look at San Francisco, right? All these teams have a bunch of players that are on their first contract. And if you can't get that talent, you can't just go out and buy it.
Okay. So to your point, if that's the better way to go make a football team for the most part, why wouldn't Cincinnati be more open to playing ball?
Because they got their guy.
But maybe they can
They
get their guy.
got their hometown guy.
They could get their guy and other guys. Hometown.
No.
Like, what is he? Is he walking around with
Will we agree?
walking around with a Joe Morgan jersey?
Will we agree that the best quarterback in this draft is Joe Burrow?
We agree.
Will we agree that the most important position on the football field is quarterback?
Of course.
Why would you trade that away?
Get more picks. You said build a more well-rounded football team.
And then spend the next 5-10 years looking for a quarterback?
I'm very confused. I thought we just said that for the most part, teams have to build around the quarterback for the most part.
Correct.
They're getting that opportunity. They're going to get a young quarterback who they can build around with more options.
No. But not the best quarterback. And here, I'm never going to pass up an opportunity to have the best prospect at a position.